We've got 3 old units getting EX jobs with the return of the Final Fantasy IV collaboration. Cecil, Rosa, and Kain are all getting upgrades, and you're probably wondering, after I'm done pulling for Golbez, do I need to EX any of these units? And I'm going to tell you whether or not you should. Now, you might be wondering, Diggs and Orange already have videos on this very topic, so why do I have to listen to Mysidia's video? Well, I'm going to give you something that they cannot, which is Balo. I'm going to give you so much more Balo in this video than they could possibly have given you. It's going to be at least triple the amount that they did, and I think that's really going to sustain you through the whole video, so please look forward to it. Let's start by talking about Cecil, who is kind of like a less tanky, but more motivational Balo. So his attack is not going to be top tier with the upgrades. However, if you put self-sacrifice on, then he is going to be in an acceptable range. However, that really goes against his tankiness, and you kind of want him to be able to survive some hits, to be able to use his different support units support skills, and then also to use his new job level 25 skill, which we'll talk about in just a second. He's slow at 59 agility, and he's got great dex and luck. At 273 and 252, he can stack some accuracy. I really like that. That's a big deal. I'm pretty excited about that. And then he has 4,298 HP. It's a good amount. So he is going to be a lot tankier, and we'll see, because his skill upgrades, they really help in that regard. So Blood of the Lunarians passive is upgraded from 12 defense boost to a 32 defense boost, which is honestly nutty. That's going to be a big deal for physical teams. Hopefully we see more physical metas coming up here, but this is a big deal, so I really like to see that. And then same thing, the devoted defense's barrier, physical barrier, now has another use, but it only consumes 10% of his HP. So before it was 25% if you use 2 in a row. He'd almost, he'd be at half. This is kind of a nice change. I like that a lot. It seems really, under the radar, like it's not that big a deal, but this is actually huge. So having another use means that he could use this twice in a guild battle and then still have, another use for another battle. And then the 10% HP is also a huge drop off of amount of HP losing there. And I think that's going to be, it's going to mean that he won't be in one-shot territory when he uses it. So his job level 25 skill, again, it seems not that crazy just because it's like, oh, does he really need an attack? What about if he had more support? But it's his best chance to deal more damage. So this is a skill that deals more damage the more HP that you've lost. So I think it's going to give him a chance to deal like one-shot territory damage depending on what's going on. The range is nice. It hits twice for chaining. He was missing a single target ranged attack in his kit. So here it is. Because of the barrier skills as well, he's basically guaranteed to always have this powered up over what it would normally be at 200 times mod. So when you get into a fight, there's a chance that he would actually be able to, to hit for a decent amount. So especially if you have that self-sacrifice on, but he's still missing things like defense penetration, and we can give him some slash resistance penetration, but he's not, his main job is not going to be dealing damage. For some comparisons, we're going to compare him to Thancred and Lucio, and when you look at them like that, Cecil doesn't look great stat-wise. However, his utility is where he's going to shine, and you have to build them around his barriers. So all of these units are free. You can build all of them. Just be careful with your Vizier with Thancred and with Cecil. Don't spend too much. They're not in that territory where you need to be spending to rush them. You can slow build them. They're going to be great for new players, especially for new players like really starting out, because getting all the free units you can is a huge deal. Building out an actual one element, a light team, a light slash team, that's just good for synergy. That's good for raids. It's good for PvE, for PvP. It's good for everything. So this is, these are all nice units to build up, but there's no units here that are going to be like breaking the meta or anything like that. So, Cecil, if you have them, you're getting them for free, and if you already have them at 99, then it's pretty easy to slow build them, especially if you get any other Final Fantasy IV units. Kain is up next, and looking at his stats, he's got a good agility boost. It's still on the lower side, but it's a nice boost up into that, base range that a lot of units have. His HP is fine for DPS, he has courage, so that's great. And then his attack is low, but he actually has a good version of self-sacrifice, so he's fine. That's honestly, his version is just so much better, and it got upgraded. So if we look at the skill upgrades, the Pride of the Dragoons passive now gives 25 defense penetration and 30% acquired AP up. The defense penetration puts him at 45 with his master ability included, so he's at an okay range. He's not at a great range, but of course we can supplement that if we need to. Dragon Raid got upgraded as well. It has the ability to ignore courage, and it also costs 5 less AP. It's a great upgrade. I really like that quite a bit. It's going to be nice if you can build accuracy, and he gets accuracy on his master ability, but his dex is low, so you could build some accuracy and go after some Helenas with that, or sorry, Elenas with that. And then Sealing Dive is his new skill. It's an AoE. It's an AoE that he didn't have yet because his LB was closed. It's not quite as flexible diagonally, so this is a nice little skill to get. It gets past reflex and other counters because it has that counter chance reduction, and its potency can go all the way up to 245 times if your opponent has slow, confusion, auto restore, and healing power up. It looks like a very strong skill. Kain is going to put slow on your opponent, and then also the auto restore and healing power are very common as well. So I think that this could be pretty good. I've thrown out some Dragoon comparisons for Kain, and if you have these other two Dragoons, then Kain might not be someone that you need to absolutely be chasing here. He's slower than both of them, and he's not going to be quite as powerful as Aranea. He's not going to be quite as useful in terms of utility and debuffing and stuff as Oberon, but he's going to be pretty strong. Even with the lack of over 50% defense penetration. It's still not bad though, right? Now, being dark is a blessing and a curse. It means he has plenty of partners, but he's gonna be strong against light, but it also means that he's gonna be weak to it too. So if you're wondering if you should EX Kain, I think that people with him can probably EX him quite easily. You probably already have all of his Mind Spheres. I already have over 400 Final Fantasy IV Mind Spheres from Cecil, so you probably have that as a Kain user. But players without Kain, that's the real question. Are you going to pull for this unit, maybe pity him? I don't know that you're going to. It's a really big investment. His TMR is very, very good, so that's a huge plus if you do decide to get him. And he is capable of dealing some good damage. He's capable of dealing with courage, which is a big deal. So depending on your account, if you're missing a lot of Pierce units, then here's a good chance to add one to your team that's going to do a lot for you. But if you already have a lot of Pierce units and you have people that can fill his role, then maybe you don't need to get him. So finally, let's talk about Rosa, and specifically we'll start with her stats. She gets really good stat upgrades, across the board. Attack, magic, dexterity, agility, and luck, they're all upgraded to good levels, big upgrades. It's very nice to see. And then 10 innate spirit is going to help her survive all of this magic-based damage that's coming in the meta right now. So that is a really good looking upgrade for Rosa. When we talk about her skill upgrades, they're pretty good too. So Pure Prayer is going to give 25 spirit to allies. And again, this is a really big deal. This is something that I look to do through TMRs like Rain's TMR, because spirit makes a difference. So giving spirit to allies and herself, but also giving them all 30% increased healing power. So she gets 30% increased healing power, but everybody's going to take 30% increased healing themselves. That means that her heals are going to be crazy. It's a huge buff to her healing, and the ability to set up your DPS units, your tank and your DPS, your carry, to have more spirit to survive a hit from Elena or Jaden. That's a big deal too. So Pray becomes instant cast, its range is upgraded, and it grants shell to the target. Now again, it's also going to heal for an insane amount. I think this is a really big upgrade. I think Rosa can sustain a tank in the current meta without any problems at all. I think her job level 25 skill, Full Life, doesn't seem that flashy, but it's a huge addition. It's a big deal. It's going to be particularly strong for guild battle, where you want to end the fight with all 3 of your units so that you can do better in a second fight or future defense. So I think that getting Full Life on her kit is actually one of the best things she could possibly have gotten, aside from maybe re-raise. So that's honestly, she's secret, sneaky, maybe the best upgrades here. Rosa compares favorably to other healers stat-wise. When we take a look at this comparison chart with her and Yuna and then Fina, you can see that, right? And her single target heal is going to be more powerful than anybody else's, and I mean that. It's going to be so strong. She also has AoE options on her sub-job if you need them. Her damage should be higher than Fina, and her support is better as well. The only thing she doesn't have going for her is that she's not light and she doesn't have re-raise, so that makes her, you know, as good as Fina, if not better. Well, I mean, definitely better, anything comparable to Yuna. So I absolutely think people are going to be using her, and they're going to get great use out of her in manual and in auto play. I think it's hard to go for a unit like this, knowing that in the future we're just going to get so many more powerful units to support other elements and teams, but I still think that with a good tank in front of her, she's going to be a better Fina, and Fina sees play. Like, I use Fina in guild battles still, and she helps me get 6 stars, so if she can do whatever Fina can do better, then I think Rosa's a really good healer, and she has some potential, you know, especially as Ice gets more support, to be even stronger, and just as a healer in general, she doesn't necessarily need to keep up with the units in terms of offensive capabilities, because her healing's always going to be fine, and the fact that she can set people up with Spirit and then Shell just by healing them, she could really help a tank survive. So I think that Rosa's pretty specific. If you have Fravia, if you have a strong Ice account, if you don't have a strong healer, those are all reasons why you would go for Rosa. And if you already have Yuna, or if you know you're just not really strong in Ice, then you maybe don't go for her. And you can consider also that, you know, whenever we eventually get to that next power level of unit, that it will be a long time before she's upgraded again. But I'm having a hard time seeing how she wouldn't be an effective healer in the right composition. And I think she's sneaky the best unit of the bunch. Alright, that's it for the video, and I hope you enjoyed all the information about the Final Fantasy IV units as well as Balo. So please, if this video was useful for you, comment down below, let me know, and like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all of that support. Otherwise, I'm really excited for my Golbez Pulls live stream on Wednesday, so make sure you come check that out, and otherwise I'll see you all in the next video.